Hello, my name is Carina, and in this podcast, Break Fear, Find Freedom, I have conversations with people just like you who have broken their fear and found their freedom, whatever that may be. And shows you how to do the same. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee or your running shoes, whatever makes you happy, and let the fun begin. Oh, by the way, come take my hand and let's go. The door's opening now. Hello, everybody. This is Carina again, and today I've got this very awesome guest. You're going to want to take notes for sure today because I've got Divya Parekh, and Divya is a multi-best-selling author, as well as an indie publisher or hybrid publisher. But we'll let her explain all about that. So, hello, Divya. I'm so happy to be here with you today. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, Carina?
I'm awesome, thank you. Divya, tell us a bit about Divya. Who's Divya and what does Divya do?
So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be with you and serve your audience. So the way I look at it is what is my essence, right? As Shakespeare used to say, a rose by any name smells the same. So to me, always like, okay, what's that smell? Or what's your essence as a flower? And to me, I relate with nature and I think of myself as an ocean. Ooh. So that can be playful, that's nurturing, because I always strive to be what ocean stands for. Think about it. We go to the beach, how much fun do we have frolicking in those white waves crashing the sands, jumping into the water, laughing, chasing the waves. And sometimes when the waves just go crash over your head and you're like, ah!
And you fall over and tumble. Okay, sorry.
Exactly. So you have fun and you know that it's a nurture to like so many creatures, right? Such a big ecosystem. And the beauty of ocean is that how it is so vast and yet so humble. Yes. So that's I strive to be.
Oh, I love that. That's such a beautiful metaphor. And for me, the beach and the ocean is my happy place. Just to sit there and just to absorb all that energy. So I love that. Thank you. And I'm already feeling like, oh, it's just such a right place to be right now. Thank you, Divya.
Anytime.
So tell me a bit about Divya. What does Divya do? I know you've got a really cool network and community, but what else do you do?
Well, here's what I'll share with you. If you go by my personal, I love to commute with nature, have fun with friends and family because they're important, take care of health, and be a good global citizen because to me, we are just the caretakers of this planet. We don't own it. Sometimes we do act as if we own it. We're just here as caretakers. So whatever I can do to help the planet out personally or sharing with somebody else, I'll do that. And on professionally side, primarily I'm a business growth strategist and I help people grow their businesses, and that's one of the things what happens is authors do not realize that writing a book, when you finish writing a book, or even when you have that concept, that's when you've got to start also thinking like a CEO. Yes, you're an author, but at the same time, because you're creating that small business around your book, it's very important.
So what does that mean as well? Because like now I'm writing and I've got these ideas. Okay, I'll finish my book next month. And then suddenly it's like, oh, I'm not, it's difficult because life comes in and you're writing and and then it goes off in another play. Anyway, when would an author start marketing? Because obviously now we've all got to market. We've all got to put marketing hats at some point, right? So do you market at the end of the book when you decide, okay, here's my book, people, look at it and please buy it? or do you play and do it while you're writing the book?
Well, it starts when you have the beginning of that kernel of an idea. And a lot of people like, no, I just want to keep on writing, that's my passion. So I say that you got to do what works for you.
Yes.
Our team has helped over 158 authors and counting to become #1 best-selling authors. And recently, like actually today, gosh, I haven't even taken a screenshot. But if you would be okay, I'd love to share my screen and show like about my book that was released in 2019 and show you like what it's doing.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
Yes, that's fun. That's awesome.
Okay. So basically let me see if I can do that. Oh, okay, I cannot. That's fine. So today I was looking at my book, Expert to Influencer. And the book is #4, #5, even after almost 23 months.
Wow, that is brilliant.
It just didn't happen by chance.
Okay.
I get speaking engagements, I get clients from my book, I get that credibility, I get that connection. We have helped our clients, like so many of our clients have got, oh my God, so many opportunities. So like one of my author's favorite authors, she wrote a book around, all of my authors are favorites, I should say that, because they go through that hustle and grind.
Yes, yes.
And she's a hypnotist, and she wrote a book around fibromyalgia, breaking the fibro code, and she is getting orders in bulk from other hypnotists so that they can use her book to share it with their clients. Here's the thing. I mean, I could go and name and share with you case study after case study because, having helped 158 authors, like some people have got 5-figure opportunity, 6-figure opportunity. Somebody's book became a drama. Somebody got an opportunity on a local TV show. Somebody got speaking engagement. Somebody became so clear while they were writing their book that their coaching became much more clear.
Yes.
So the key is that, yes, writing is a process. And yes, I completely agree that you should devote it completely, like give it your heart and soul to it. But at the same time, it's thinking about, okay, I'm writing it. How can I build my credibility into it? And this is applicable for both fiction and nonfiction.
Okay.
That let's just kind of take a fiction book, right? So if you're developing a protagonist, how are you developing them? How real is that character? How close it is to somebody who you're writing for? So if you don't include those elements, and a lot of people think that these are all marketing elements, to me, they're part of the book. It is part of coming from a place of heart where you're serving your audience. It's not just because I'm passionate and I want to write. To me, I'm passionate about what it can do for the readers. I want to know what it will do for me. But first thing that comes to my mind is I'm passionate. What is it going to give it to them? How is it? So for nonfiction, it's simple, right? You can talk about self-help. You can talk about how-to books. And I have a whole authority building writing book, write your authority building book in 90 days. We have a whole program coming up in September. We are going to be launching what we do with our one-on-one, with opening it up for the first time to groups.
Oh, that's exciting.
And when you think from that place, I always say ABS, which is always be serving.
Yes.
Who is my reader? Which books in my genre are doing really good, right? Who's reading them? Even sitting down and talking to them. Hey, when you sit down, what are you looking to read in it? So I'll kind of share, one of the authors that we helped write a fiction book, it was a ghost coach. When I say ghost, meaning we cannot use our names that, we published this author because we are providing ghost writing services. So they were like, no, this is my plot. This is what I want to write. I said, that's totally fine. This is your book. That's where the hybrid publisher comes, right? Traditional publisher will direct you. Nope, you write it this way or we don't accept. Versus with hybrid publishers like me, we maintain the creativity control of the author because it's ultimately their piece of them. It's their heart. So I shared a few options with her. I said, just give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, you can just go. She went and talked with 2 to 3 people. And this was like in Facebook groups, got on Facebook Messenger, talked with them. And her whole idea of her protagonist, antagonist, like the supporting characters, everything changed.
Wow. Yeah.
Where she was going to stage the book. Because she got all these different ideas.
Yes.
The thing is that, like, think about it, even if it is Star Wars, right? Or Harry Potter. In that Harry Potter, even though it's a fictional character, your reader is looking like, oh my God, you know, I had a rough life. I had a rough childhood. People will connect. So to me, when you write it the right way, that's what marketing is, because you're putting your reader first. Does that make sense, Carina?
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I love that because that makes a lot of sense. Because like now I'm writing a memoir about a piece of what happened, right? But there's just so much. So I start writing and then suddenly something else comes up and then I'm going, there's just too much. So, you know, if you take a step back and you speak to your listeners, I mean, your readers, sorry, listeners, your readers, then you can, it sort of gives you an idea of where to focus your attention. So I love that. Thanks a lot. I wanted to ask you, not everybody knows, because you've got the traditional publisher, the indie publisher, and then you've got the hybrid publisher. So what's the difference between everybody here? I mean, because it's quite a big playfield right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just kind of talk about few publishers that most people get used to, right? So there is a traditional publisher where you have to do a query letter. You have to send out first you have to like see whether they're taking books in your genre or not. What are the chances that you'll get in? Should you have a literary agent or not? I mean, I personally think that it's important to have a literary agent. And then you gotta have the whole proposal written. And the proposal has to be in a way that it's going to speak to the publishers. And once you send it to them, you don't know for a fact whether it will get accepted or not. At the same token, you don't know if it will not get accepted, right? So it's basically, and I always like to go back to Jack Canfield's story. So Jack and Victor, like, you know, the chicken soup of the soul.
Yes.
They had stories and they went out to so many different publishers, didn't accept. They kept on, like, you know, promoting their idea on so many different things for like almost 2.5 years, almost 200,000. I don't have the exact number, but over $200,000 in debt. And then as they kept on learning that, okay, why this is not being accepted. And they got approximately 20,000 plus orders, pre-orders from people. And then that they brought it to the publisher, and that's when the book was accepted. And of course, rest is history.
Yes.
So same thing, if you go and take a look at the authors, it's not like, boom, you know, everything is rosy. I'm going on book tours and I'm getting on TV stations and everybody's just waiting to roll out the red carpet for me. That's not the case. It may happen. I'm not saying everything is possible in this world, but it's also important to look at the realism of life. So I always say, you know, be a realistic optimist. So that's then, you know, okay, you send on to different publishers, your proposals, and then that also got to be done really well. So sometimes you'll find that literary agents will not charge you for taking you to the publisher. They will usually take between 15 to 20% of royalty. Some do 15% is usually on average. But then if your proposal is not good, they may not represent you. So it's hard to even like get a literary agent to represent you. You can do it yourself, reach out to the publishers. You may have to invest money in writing a good proposal, because if your proposal is not right, you got to spend time in researching publishers. So now you start sending. They will pick up the expenses for your book, but at the same time, you'll probably get like 10% or 15% of the royalty. And then also you don't have much control. If they think they already have 3 to 4 books that has been published, you gotta do what they say. You may have to change the title, you may have to change your book, you may have to change the direction. Then you gotta do the marketing too.
Okay.
So that's one whole traditional publishing piece.
Okay.
Then the second piece is self-publishing. So what happens in self-publishing is that a lot of authors don't have a background. They've got good writing style, they write it, and they will, how should I say, like, pull everything together, and they can publish it on print-on-demand platforms.
Yes, Amazon's beautiful.
Amazon, Ingram Spark. I mean, there are so many Google Books. I mean, there's so many, Apple, and there are tons and tons of them. So you can do that. And basically, the hybrid publishers and indie publishers are kind of the same, It's like you're printing a book that can be done with regular printers. You're not going to Amazon and we do that. We have done that for a lot of authors, but then you're purchasing at least 1,000 to 5,000 copies. And you are basically, indie is like individual author with the support of publishers like me. So you can call us hybrid publishers, indie publishers, and usually there is an investment associated with that.
Okay.
Because that will also depend. Like there are a lot of hybrid publishers who will take royalty, like 50% royalty from your book. Then there are hybrid publishers or indie publishers like me. We only provide services. We do not take any royalties.
Okay.
Because, go ahead.
So what's the difference? You hear people talking about vanity publishers and hybrid publishers.
So there are vanity publishing is like offshoots of big name brands like Hay House, right? So Hay House has Balboa.
Okay.
So you're not getting like one-on-one attention, like a boutique. So we call ourselves as boutique publishing rather than even hybrid, because boutique means we only take on like 2 to 3 authors in a given time for a quarter. And that too, if we don't think that author has the caliber or the quality, we will not work with them. We just don't work with everyone, period.
That's good.
So vanity publishing is also, they're charging you money, and then they do keep royalty like traditional publishers. And then there is a possibility that you may get into Hay House. But vanity publishing will also take the royalty from you guys.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. So you've got this wide variety of choices, really. So, but you have to do the marketing anyway. As an author, you have to do the marketing for all of them anyway. So we've got to just get over yourself and get away from your computer for a bit and go and do some marketing, basically, right?
Yeah, and you got to do strategic marketing. I mean, here's the thing, if you go with I have had so many authors come to us after vanity publishing. I've had authors come to me even after some of the traditional publishers, because when they got the contract, and what happened was that their story was changing so drastically, they didn't want to do it. So versus if you're working with a boutique firm like our firm, then what happens is that you're full in control, and yet you're getting the high level, like some of our editors have worked in magazines as editors. Some of them have worked in the publishing houses. So you get the same quality the two big differentiators are, one, without losing control, because even with vanity publishing, you put in, but you don't have as much control. You know, like it's all very like one size fits all. It's not personalized. So you got to do like whatever they're doing. You fill out the forms. There's not that personal touch. And of course, like, you don't know, like it's more of a cookie cutter approach.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want that.
Otherwise, it doesn't work, right? Because they have perfected a way. They keep on doing it. So we have perfected a way too. But what we do is we customize it to fit the customer. So if you were to look in the three top broad categories, do you have to do marketing for traditional vanity and yourself? Check.
Yes.
Do you get to keep the royalty? Only with yourself and with us. Yes. You got to give royalty to vanity and for traditional. Then do we do the marketing for you? Yes. We do very strategic marketing. So for example, let's say getting people on different podcasts or getting like on the right podcast, or, you know, taking people and getting in a magazine. Because see, what happens is, let me ask you this question. You look at an author when you go to their author page. So now if you see that their book has been published or referenced or mentioned in a magazine, what would that do for you?
Of course, it gives you more credibility, right? So you think, oh, well, then it must be great because they've interviewed them or whatever.
Yes, so we don't do marketing, we do credibility building. And the reason I say credibility building is that nowadays the reader and the consumer has become so smart.
Yes, yes.
That, this book, I landed on this book. This is good, you know. I like the author, but you know what? Their picture is not right. So even there's a whole strategy behind writing your author bio. There's a strategy behind writing. How do you write your hook sentence in your book description? How do you even take your picture? Like what kind of smile? So these are like what font you're using. There's so many things that get involved that people say, yeah, I can self-publish. Yes, you can. And it works. A lot of people are intuitive. A lot of people can do Google search. Hey, kudos to you, power to you. Definitely it can be done. But what I'm saying is that it's important that on one hand, you pour in soul. It's also important to be strategic about it. Thinking it that, what is it that you want from your book, you know?
Yes. I love that. So Divya, this is really a very interesting subject, and I could speak forever about this because books are close to my heart, right? Being a writer myself, well, I'm not an author yet, haven't published yet, but we're getting there. But that's besides the point. And you've really done so much. You've got bestsellers, and you've got all these best-selling clients. Have you at any time felt fear at such a point that you just were immobilized and paralyzed? And what did you do to get out of it?
How many times do you want to know?
I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, how many times? It's I could give you stories here. I could write a whole book about it. And here's what I'll tell you. Like, you know, initially when I was doing my first book, it was like a co-author book. It took me 6 months to write one darn chapter.
Yes.
My publisher came and told me, hey, you know what, Divya, I can't hold up the other people. Do you think you want to come back for next anthology? So you want to know the extent of it, and just so many times writer's blocks. And it's not like, oh gosh, Divya, you have written 10 books, 15 books. And the reason I'll tell you is that I just want to go back to very quickly to the previous question is, I wasn't a publisher, but I worked with 2 to 3 indie publishers, hybrid publishers, whatever we want to give them a name, And they took me for a ride. They took my money and left me high and dry. A lot of attitude and as if they were doing me a favor. And since that day, I was like, you know what? As an author, we are so vulnerable. I'm writing this book. I'm already feeling, who am I to write this? You know, I've finished a book and I'm still getting these doubts. Who am I to write this book? Is anybody going to like it? What if people hate it? Oh my God, what if people are going to criticize it? And I'm putting my work out there. Oh gosh, where do I get started? Even though I I do the process, but like that, it's almost like that hidden monster just kind of pops up.
Yes.
So then I just kind of go back and you said, what do you do? I just say, it's okay.
Okay.
Divya, it's okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be fearful. Because these fears are not what define me. These fears are popping up because I'm pushing through something more to be what I'm meant to be. And there is no one layer where you're meant to be. You achieve one layer, you break that limit.
Yes.
Now you're in a new place, right? You've broken that fear. And then when I write another book, something else pops up. So you break through that fear. So in that moment of time, you're limitless.
I love that.
I want to say this again. In that moment of time, you're limitless. So the key is, folks, is that yes, you're seeing the fear. You don't stop. You don't give up. You look the fear and it's right. Face the fear. Look at the fear and say, it's okay. I accept myself. I've got the fear, but I'm going to keep on pushing through it. One of the things that really works well is that you write down whatever fears you have and then rip those pieces up. Let them go. Okay. I experience it. Write it again. Rip them up. Okay. You know what? I'm done with you. I'm still going to continue doing it because the more action you take, the more you'll keep on pushing through it. Sometimes, I'm sitting down and writing blogs. It's not just about writing a book.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't sound right. And I've got templates. I have created the templates just for that reason. So people, when they're stuck, how to write an opening paragraph, how to write a closing paragraph. So these are all prompts that can get people out of their stuck.
Yes.
So when I shift my focus from me to we, and I got to tell you a story. This was when I was writing my last book, Expert to Influencer. And before that, the book was The Entrepreneur's Garden. And recently I shared a post, 4 years, and that book was still a bestseller.
Wow.
It sees peaks up and down. And what happened was one day I'm just sitting, it's a winter day. I'm sitting in front of my computer, it's just blank. Overcast sky. It's totally gray, dark clouds. It was like that for a long time. And I just kind of feel that cold seeping in my bones,
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? I've already written so many books. Why do I have to write another one? Am I crazy or what? Then I'm like, you know what? I keep on telling my authors, I got to push myself too. I got to face my fear. Like, all right, I'm going to turn on my computer. Let me check my emails and then I'll get on it because I got to do what I say, right? Otherwise, if you don't walk the talk, and then what's the point of talking?
Yes, you're right. Yes.
So I open it up and it pops up. Gosh, this email from a reader who had read The Entrepreneur's Garden. And it said, thank you, Divya, for writing this book.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like as if somebody gave me a permission. I was reading the book and somebody just came through and gave me permission to be myself.
Mm.
And whoa, I was just light, just a jolt of lightning going through me. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I got it right, you know? So it's important, again, always be serving. Don't write for yourself, write for that reader. You ask me, what is it? How writers can get unstuck.
Yes.
Think about your reader. And when you do that, I could sit here and tell you stories that I've had from my readers, that how the book impacts lives, how it makes a difference. That's all there is to it. If it makes impact even in one person's life, I'll tell you. Our work as authors is done.
It's true. That's beautiful. So you'd say that you found freedom then, right?
Yes. You're absolutely right.
I love that. So yes, and so and I'm sure in some way you find freedom every day. Even though I'm sure every day you feel your fear, because that's how we are. We're human. We feel fear today, and then we're okay for a bit, and then we feel some more fear. But that freedom is worth everything.
Yes. And the beauty is, like, when we talk about becoming limitless, it's not a destination. It's a process. It's a journey. Like, you experience a lifetime in that moment. I mean, to this day, when I read that email, or I've had, like, you know, a lot of people kind of come up to me and say that, you know, I really love this piece. I used it. Like, I've written a book on mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I used this piece with my family or someone, and it worked.
That's beautiful.
This is when you take these and use these things to break your fears, to overcome it. And we're human beings. Share it. Be vulnerable. Like, here, I don't mind. Even though I've written 15 books, I'm perfectly imperfect, Carina.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm happy to share my mistakes that I've made. And I still make mistakes, but it's okay. We are human beings. You know, it's just about when you love yourself with perfections, imperfections, and flaws and errors and the glory and everything, you'll find that you do reach at beautiful time points in your life, and you do achieve that glory. Even though it may be just momentarily, but just that feeling that you've made a difference in somebody's life, oh my God, it lifts you as if you're riding that wave.
Yes, yes. I love that. Thank you, Divya. Where can people find you? I mean, I can speak to you for the next 3 hours, but I know you're really busy. So where can people find you?
Well, they can find me in Facebook. They can find me on LinkedIn. And especially if you're an author, folks, we would love to have you join us in our Authors Marketing Circle. Carina is also one of our family members. You know, we get together, we ask questions, we share groups, and sometimes we have even disagreements, we have agreements. It's family where you can be yourself. So I'm sure Carina will share it in her notes, the link to the group. Join us there, and would love to support you. And thank you so much, Carina, for having me on your show.
Thank you, Divya. But before you go, just one quick question, please. What difference do you want to make in the world? I know you've already made a huge difference, but what difference do you want to make now at this point in the world?
I want to help people give voice to their message. There's so many people who have their stories. Folks, I want you to own your story. I want you to give a voice to your story. And in next 10 years, I want to help 1 million people, because the more we can voice our stories, remember, you may think, oh gosh, who's my story? Like, you know, who's going to like my story? Or what's the point in my story? I can tell you the things that you have achieved in your life. It can be a survival guide for somebody else. So just don't push yourself aside. You matter. Your story matters. So give voice to your story.
Oh, I love that. Oh, what a beautiful way to end this. Divya, I am honored to have you and to speak to you and to have you as my guest. Thank you so much. And hopefully we can continue this conversation because we've just touched a little bit. There's so much more that we can dive deep into. So thank you so much. Thank you. Honored to have you, and we will talk again. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for listening right to the end. Now, if you want to know more about breaking fear and if it's keeping you stuck, check out the quiz. The details are below. Subscribe so you can hear some more of this delicious conversations. And then watch out for my book, The Clank of Chains, which is coming out very soon. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye.